Greetings, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk to you about two zones that are around us. They surround us. They're invisible, but they're there nevertheless. They're very real. And these zones, they become more defined as we age, more able to identify a threat. They also expand and contract depending upon the environment that we're in, whether we perceive something to be hostile in that environment. And also, these zones here will travel with us no matter where we go. So again, no matter where we go, no matter what kind of environment we find ourselves in, and also as we age, they change. I call these the threat zone and the critical zone. And it's a really good name for it because this little area right here, this critical zone, is everything. And so is the threat zone when it comes to your dog encountering what it perceives as a threat. What it perceives. Now, just a little background on this. It's an antiquated system that was put into all of us humans, our dogs, and all the animals in the animal kingdom to keep them alive on the planet Earth. It's a bit antiquated. It wasn't designed for you to be sitting there having lunch and all of a sudden a cruise missile's in your lap that got fired from 50 miles away. It was put there for when an animal jumped out of a bush and suddenly attacked you. There's an old rule in nature. Distance, the greater of the distance, equals safety. So nature wanted to give you fair warning that there could be danger headed your way. And she wanted to give you ample time to not have to deal with that danger. Out in the wild, contact is always risky. That's why even very large predators like a great white will dive over 100 feet down into the ocean and then power itself up to 40 knots and pummel an 80-pound sea lion and just thrust it about 20 feet in the air and then grab it. And a lot of times you think, why didn't he just, this is like a 2-ton big fish. Why didn't he just grab the darn sea lion instead of going through all that trouble burning all that energy? Because contact is risky. When that great white hits that sea lion, it dies from blunt force trauma right then and there. So again, out in the wild, any sort of contact with any sort of perceived threat, even your prey, can be risky. And there's a lot of strategies involved about making sure we minimize risk. But around all of us, including our dogs, no matter where we go, there's a critical zone and a threat zone surrounding us. At your house, it probably contracts tightly against your body because you feel safe. But when we've interviewed veterans who are over in Afghanistan and Iraq, they said that threat zone was as far as they could see, as far as they could even imagine there's the possibility that the enemy could be lurking out there somewhere. Because again, distance equals safety. So now, here's how this thing plays out when you own your dog and you're dealing with any sort of aggression or anything else. In this threat zone here, what we do here is that when the animal, your dog, ever perceives, again, unique to your animal, you may not perceive a threat, but your dog may. As soon as it's aware of it, whether through its vision, through hearing, through smell, as soon as it detects a possible threat, your dog will start to immediately act out upon that threat. Usually the first thing it'll do is become immobile. It'll just freeze. It'll just become immobile. A lot of us do that as well. You enter into a room or into a dangerous situation, all of a sudden you go, freeze. Let me think about this for a second. Dogs will do that. You just watch them sometimes. The reason why they do it is because they inherently know that their eyes are made up of more rods than cones. More rods and cones enable the animal to detect movement in low light. So if I'm an animal, then by just for default, you must have the same eyes as me. You can detect me easily if I move, so therefore I'm just going to freeze. So you'll see dogs become immobile at first. And then as the threat starts to advance towards them, well, at some point, it's close enough to where, okay, forget it. You now see me. You're now aware that I'm here. So that's when we start to now vocalize, start growling, start barking. That's when those hackles come up. It's called piloerection. It's a bluff mechanism. All predators have that capability. Watch a cat arch its back and puff up its tail. Watch birds of prey spread their wings, their plume will come out. Heck, if you want to see good posture on guys, wait till they're about to get into a fight, and all of a sudden that chest comes down, the shoulders go back. It's a bluffing mechanism. Again, antiquated system that got put in a long time ago to try and make sure that you don't have any sort of contact with this thing right here. Because again, this isn't your dinner. This is something that you think might be you might be dinner for it. So it's a threat, okay? A threat. You perceive it as a threat. So here I'm growling. Here my hackles are up. Here I'm starting to move back and forth a little bit here. My eyes are narrow, they're dilated, my heart's racing. I have glucose running through my system, going straight into my legs, getting ready to flee. So right here, an example of maybe this is a deer, right here. It captured a deer, this is a wolf, and it captured a deer. And this is a big grizzly bear. Well, at least for a little while here, depending upon that distance, that starving wolf's going to want to keep that deer he worked very hard to capture. So here comes this big bear. Deer recognizes the bear for what it is, a possible threat to his meal, starts to act out. Hey, bear, just so you know, I had a good night's sleep last night. I've been working out. I've been eating okay lately, a little hungry right now. But if you think you're going to come over here and take my deer, you better think again, because I'm going to bite your darn little bear butt off. So he's pitching this big, ever-loving fit. That sounds something like you see around your house when a delivery person comes over. Sometimes when you go for a walk. Sometimes when you pass a semi-truck in a car. Very same thing there. So the bear now, again, as I told you yesterday in the video about signals, this wolf is communicating to the bear. It's asymmetric. Communication in the wild among animals is a behavior. This wolf is trying to influence the behavior of the bear. So he's raising his signal. The closer this thing gets, the more deep that growl becomes. The more he puffs up. He's trying to show the bear, you really, really just don't want to take me on over this deer today. You've been eating pretty good yourself. I can tell by looking at you. And he's hoping that the bear will then change directions and go away. Okay. However, if that bear says, no, I'm hungry, then at some point, the bear will now enter to what's called the critical zone. The critical zone is flat out fight or flight. This is where a split-second decision is made. Am I going to take on the bear, or am I just going to give up my meal? And hopefully he'll leave me something. That's the critical zone, and that's really important. Then we'll come back to it. Let me just back up to right here. So if you have a dog who pitches an ever-loving fit when someone drops off a package at your house, this is what's going on. Anytime a dog sees an unfamiliar dog or an unfamiliar person, they will always run them through what's called IFF. Identification, friend or foe. Keep that in mind. Identification, friend or foe. And I should have written a foe first because that is always what has to be ruled out. Always, always. I don't know you. And because I don't know you, I'm going to have to assume that you are a foe before I assume that you are a friend. This is always the case. Now again, they can bark, 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 and all of a sudden you invite the delivery person in and they run over them. They're checking them out, gestures, any sort of signals that they're getting back from the delivery person, and they may decide, oh, I thought you were a foe, but you're a friend. But if they don't get that opportunity, as soon as the delivery person starts approaching your home, there we go. Rawr, 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 bark, 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 bark. And next thing you know, they drop off package and leave. And dog goes, well, that worked. Have to remember that, by golly. And they do. They do. Same thing. You're taking your dog for a walk on a sidewalk. And over here is approaching someone with their dog. And you're right here. And your dog's in this critical zone. Your dog looks out ahead and goes, oh no, that looks like a big time threat to me. Right here, while you're walking, as they get closer, you'll suddenly see your dog starting to growl, starting to puff up, getting ready to start lunging. Why does it do this? Because here's the deal. This is very important here. Pay attention. I'm on a leash. So remember, the wolf had an option when the bear approached and entered the critical zone. Either fight the bear or run. But when we have our dogs on a leash, or they're in our house, or they're in a car, there is a perceived the option to flee is not there. They don't perceive they have that ability to flee. I'm in a small home. I'm in a crate. I'm in a car, which is nothing more than a crate on wheels. I'm on a leash. So the flight option has been taken from them. And because the flight option has been taken and you enter the zone, that's it. That's the only two things that ever happen in that zone. Fight or flight, when we're still under the pretext that we're dealing with a threat. Again, not when we're dealing with a friend. We're dealing with a threat. And remember, they're always going to think threat before they think friend. So it's important that we understand this as I answer a whole bunch of your questions that are coming in over the next couple of weeks here. I'm going to refer back to this threat zone, critical zone, identification, friend or foe. But this delivery person comes up, your dog goes, I don't know that person. Rawr, 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 rawr. They drop off box. They leave regardless of what your dog's doing. You're sitting there thinking, hey, you stupid dog. Dude probably has 90 more deliveries to do. He didn't care. He didn't leave because of what you're doing. He left because of his job. But again, their world is unique to them. I don't know you. You are an unfamiliar creature. You're approaching my home. I only have so many options in this home. So therefore, I'm going to rawr, rawr, rawr and hope that you go away. And you do. And that starts to build over and over and over again. And then as I told you yesterday, remember even in here, during this little path here, maybe we start off with a very subtle signal. Like for example, we freeze. And then you keep coming towards me. The closer you get, the more I just start having this huge display. What I'm doing is I'm increasing the signal. Remember yesterday, in the presence of noise, we must increase the signal. Wow, that's big time noise. It's a threat. So the closer you get to me, the more I'm going to growl, the more I'm going to puff up, the more I'm going to lunge. I'm going to do all sorts of things. And my job is that if I can't run away from you, is to make you run away from me, make you leave. So right here, that delivery person approaches your door, I raise that signal, rawr, 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 the delivery person leaves. But then guess what? Shows up again tomorrow, or the next day, or the next week, over and over again. People delivering food, people delivering groceries, people delivering boxes from everywhere online. Over and over and over again, they show up. So of course, I raise my signal. Okay, I guess I got to take this up a notch because obviously they keep coming back here. Even though I gave my A game yesterday, I'm going to have to give them my A plus game. Same thing happens on a walk. Okay, here comes someone with their dog. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Rawr, rawr, rawr. Your dog starts lunging on the end of that leash. These people keep going. They probably go around you at a distance, but they keep going. And you know how your dog perceives that? That worked. Have to remember that, by golly. In fact, your dog's probably looking at you going, hey, you could chip in a little bit next time, would you please? I had to take care of that threatening situation all by myself. Yeah, constantly reinforced. These people probably live down here. But they went by anyway. Same thing in a car. Semi-truck, rawr, 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 rawr. Well, at some point, that thing's either going to pass your vehicle or you're going to pass it. But the dog always perceives my actions created that outcome. All because you got too close to my critical zone. Now, a lot of us should get this. We say it all the time. Hey, dude, you're in my space. We're not comfortable with people being in our space. But we're definitely uncomfortable when there's a threat in our space. And the further away I can see that threat, the more planning I have, the better chance I have to get out of the situation. You know, lions are smart. But if I'm a zebra, give me about a 100-yard head start, and I might be able to survive that day. So as you take this on, guys, the biggest thing I need you to understand is this. We have those two zones. They're always with your dog. They're always with you. They expand and they contract, but nevertheless, they're there. And they were designed for you to be able to detect a threat. It doesn't have to be accurate, just got to be close enough. Kind of like horseshoes. If I can possibly detect anything that's a threat, then I'm going to act out on that, kind of like a trust but verify situation. And then if the threat keeps approaching me and I feel I don't have the option to run, then I only have one option left. Try to make it go away from me. And every time your dog gets success doing that, you can take this to the bank. They will repeat that behavior. Dogs are not like humans. Dogs only carry one suitcase with them into the future. It's called winnings. Humans, only because we can afford to, drag around a suitcase called losings. Not dogs. They dump that in a heartbeat. So if I went rah, 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 and I made that thing leave, I bit that human and I made them do R1, response 1 for me. I growled and the humans back up. You bet. If I bark and bark and bark and things keep passing by and they suddenly disappear in the front of my house, I'm going to keep that up. And a lot of you have written in, wow, man, Bryan, my dogs bark at everyone that passes in front of my house. This is why, okay? Bushes or something. Oh, I see them. Rah, 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 they're gone. Again, rah, 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 they're gone. And what's your dog thinking? My actions caused that result. So we have to keep this in mind. Because as I explain in future videos, there will be times in which we stay away from that zone. We do not force other dogs and other people into that zone. We always assume that my dog is assuming they are a foe before they are a friend. We take precautions in this area. We understand that there's a threat zone and threats exist. Our dogs don't live in our fairy tale world where, oh, we love everyone and everyone loves us. Not them. No way. They still have fangs, they still have claws, and they come from a world in which that thing kept them alive. Kept them alive. And also made the prey that they're hunting harder to catch. Okay, guys, threat zones, critical zones. They're there. And if you did not see the video yesterday on noise, raising the signals in general, semiotics, make sure you go back and watch that as well. All of these chalk talks that I'm doing this week are leading up to me now going to demonstrate and show you how to take care of some of these major problems. Because trust me, yeah, I get it that your dog goes off, hits that front door like a freight train every time the delivery person comes up. But here's the problem. One day the door gives. It gives. The gate gives. And now guess who's bitten? Real serious subject here. I address it in big detail in my book, The Hammer, Why Dogs Attack Us and How to Protect it, how to prevent it. So that being said, pay attention to this. Threat zone, critical zone. Always there, always present, and we must be always respectful of them. All right, guys, this is day 18 on my 365-day journey to helping people, making sure people aren't getting bit by their dogs. I tell you what, when your dog bites someone else, well, the other person feels bad, but you feel really bad. I've never met anyone yet that just wasn't crushed by that. Guys, this whole thing I'm doing is about lowering the stress, achieving incredible ownership with your dog. So I'm laying this groundwork. And if you find these too boring because you're not getting some action videos, well, you need to take it in anyway. This is vitally important. And all these videos I do are vitally important. All right, if you thought it was important, share it. Please share it. I need more sharing going on because I'm getting contacted by people that you did share it with. And they've jumped on board and over again they comment, thank you, Bryan, for doing these videos. Thank you for helping me out. I've had lots of issues with my dogs, and now I'm starting to understand what's going on. That's what it's all about. So please share it. All right, tomorrow I'm going to talk about another really important topic here, especially if you have children or you have dogs of roughly the same size and the same age and the same gender. And the title of tomorrow's episode will be The Principle of Resemblance. Wow, that's huge. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back here again tomorrow.